Obamacare, we also need to remember that what's being discussed right now is that it doesn't look like it's not all of it that's going to be repealed. Not all of it will be repealed. But that's what happens when you are a losing party who, when you had the opportunity to do something great, you pushed forward instead a poorly written piece of legislation that actually had refused to grandfather in a whole subsection of people you were attempting to help during the campaigning for the approval of this, and you passed it by reconciliation because you didn't have the momentum to do it otherwise. It should have been blue slip. You switched out the guts of the House.
Hey friends, and a pleasant good evening. Welcome to Lions Live on the Forever Lions Network, the only network built by the players to the fans. My name is Skip Dreibelbis, along with the Grizz, Jimmy Kennedy. We're expecting Yaacov, Yisrael, and Big Dude Stephen Davis here to join us shortly as we give a recap here of Penn State football. Big game here this past weekend, as we all know. A little frustration at the end. We could have possibly pulled that one out, but hey, a great statement this year for Penn State, and we're glad for them to be there. First of all, Big Ten champs. What else can you say? Jimmy, it's been a great year, and we're thankful to see Penn State do as well as they have, because it's certainly not what we expected. What do you think, Jimmy?
Oh, man, of course we all have bitter taste, sour taste in our mouth right now because of, how that game ended up. But you know what? It was a well-fought game. Hopefully, we can hope that the national championship game will be as entertaining as that was. I actually thought that Ohio State versus Clemson was going to go down the way Penn State, USC game went down, but obviously that didn't work. We're still hearing a lot of stuff about, how Penn State as well as USC, who are, shortchanged for the most part, gypped, or so on, whatever one you want to plug in there, for being in the playoffs and everything else, and where they were ranked and so on. So everyone felt that Penn State would have gave a better battle than Ohio State versus Clemson. Ohio State fits the donut. I have my concerns all season long because, I know Penn State's not a first-half team. And, even when we were texting and talking about it, I felt that with greater competition, competition that we were playing, although we played our hearts out, I just felt that we need to start putting it together for 4 quarters instead of just the 2, the 2.5 that we've been doing so far. So when it's all said and done, we had a few chances to win that game. I don't know what happened to the defense, why they didn't show up. And I just mean it in the sense of sacks. Like, I expected to see at least a couple.
Right.
It doesn't have to be, outrageous number or something like that, because the quarterback, the young quarterback, USC young quarterback, was really doing a good job of getting and keeping the ball out of his hands. But I guess where I was getting my concerns that we talked about all year long was our secondary. We talked about how great our secondary was, and I don't really think they played a great game, with a guy who was just on point. I think we had a lot of miscues, and I think he really found a weakness in us, which really doesn't fall on our secondary to a point, because it was right in the middle, right behind the linebacker, right in front of the safety.
Right.
They really did a good job of finding that space. And so it's really kind of hard to really point the fingers at the secondary. I just think they take a lot of, not the blame, because we win as a team, we lose as a team. But I think those last second pass interference was really, we made it easy on them. And they were definitely PIs. We made it easy on them, and I would have liked to seen us have just a little bit more fight. That first interception that we threw, that should have been an interception that was dropped by, I want to say, number 22, to only follow up with the second interception, because we went right back to, our receiver, Godwin, and so on. So it was just a lot of miscues, 3 interceptions by Trace, so that was hard. And then I wanted to see him run the ball a little bit more. Barkley did his thing, but I think the missing element that we usually have was Trace usually running out there, and he's getting 70, 80 yards as well. And I think if he would have did that, we would have ate up just a little bit more clock. And, I think we would have got the win. But overall, a fantastic season. It was, like you said, Big Ten champs. They can't take that away from us. We'll have a ring for that. I think because we have, like we talked about, 75 players returning, or will we lose 4 or 5 or so on to maybe pros or seniors, and I really hats off to Penn State. I think they did an amazing job. I think the coaches did an amazing job. Franklin is one of the best. He showed that he deserved, respect and so on. And I think Penn State this year did a great job of putting everyone on notice, for more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I think things could have gone a lot of downward directions this year with the way this team started out. And surprisingly, we haven't had the ball bounce our way for a long time. And let's face it, that signature win against Ohio State, I don't want to say it's a fluke, but it's just one of those games where at the end, the odds of jumping up, blocking that kick, and it bouncing up in the guy's hands to run for a touchdown that's just not the norm in football, okay? But, hey, we were blessed to have a good season, and things just kept falling into place. And they almost did here at the end. The thing I noticed I took from the game was it was frustrating about the secondary and some coverages.
But it's overall because the D line wasn't getting pressure either.
That's right. Right. Yeah, they got to put some heat on the guy. And you're right. The D line was not. And I was surprised we didn't blitz more. I was hoping we'd actually blitz more and got some guys in his face. I didn't see that happening a whole lot that game, which I was wondering, what are we doing? We keep dropping back in the zone. And I couldn't understand it because, if I think if we'd had 1 or 2 guys coming in there unexpectedly, if we disguised coverages and sent somebody, I think it would have thrown that all off on the defensive side. On the offensive side, especially towards the end, I couldn't understand why we were wanting to pass the ball. We needed to eat up the clock, and they were obviously keen on Saquon. So I'm wondering, well, why don't we throw that all off? And if you're going to pass it all, fake it to him in a play action and roll out and let the quarterback try to get run the ball or pass it again. There's some things like that. And again, we're trying to coach it after the fact. But I was just so surprised to see those 2 passes at the end come out of his hand because it just did not seem like it was well thought out. That's just another way to put it. But
I think it was just a sense of desperation, especially once the game was tied. It was one of those things that was like, nothing can happen. At worst, we're taking a chance to put ourselves in field goal range so we can win. But they came with the big play, had a nice return on it, and put themselves in field goal position. But if the play goes, if we make that completion, guess what? We're kicking a field goal, and we're talking about Penn State winning and how things change and everything else and so on. But I still, like I said, I still think that we did a great job of putting everyone on notice right now. Obviously, with such a young squad, if we don't read the articles and stuff in the off season and so on, we get a couple of recruits and stuff that can actually come in and help us. A couple of more big time receivers and so on, because Godwin played some fantastic ball. And this is just me, my personal opinion. I didn't feel Hopkins was going to show up. He hasn't been consistent all year. Obviously, I know we're talking about college kids and so on like that. But, I can't – I don't know if his confidence is dropping or whatever. He made a couple of solid plays, but nothing fantastic, nothing to wow a person. Even right now, when I talk about, the Giants and so on, I talk about – obviously, you have the Odell Beckham, but it's the guy that you're not expecting, the Victor Cruzes and the Shepherds and so on that need to come to life so Odell can have a better game. Because if Godwin was making unbelievable catches, all day for the most part, if he would have had just another threat, just one more threat, he would have had a field day. As well as Saquon, he had a fantastic game. But just imagine if Chase was giving us just a little bit more with a run, And I understand this. I don't want Trey can't do everything. He can't throw all day, run all day, and so on. So I'm definitely understandable when it comes to that.
Before you know, we're sending him out for a pass.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm saying? I'm just imagine we had, Saquon's backup get you about 30, 40 yards.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Just
absolutely.
Stuff like that. And not every time Saquon.
Well, look at the contrast, Jimmy. You know, we had, apart from the running back, we had four receivers we threw to that game. USC had 9 receivers getting their hands on the ball.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe we're lacking depth, okay, but this is a game you gotta put, throw in the kitchen sink, and sooner or later, they get your number. I mean, it seems like it's been this type of year. This one thing I took from the game also I noticed was, that first half we struggled and we made adjustments. It seemed like the second half we had their number, all right, and we turned it on just like we always did all season long. It seemed to be the same old pattern.
Exactly, but that's also, Skip, what I've been complaining about all season long.
Yes,
it's like we have to stop, because keep in mind of this, USC for the most part was a home game for them.
Yes, it was.
In terms of, yes, Penn State traveled well and everything else, but it still was a home game for USC fans. Right. Their fans didn't have to go far and so on. It's easier for them to get there, and when they showed the aerial view, 3/4 of the stadium was red.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can tell we're away. Yeah.
So which I'm fine with. Like, for me, and I'm not knocking the Rose Bowl or nothing like that, but there's certain teams that I don't think should be able to play in it.
Yeah, that was a homer. That was a homer for sure. No doubt that was a homer. And we how many other bowl games did we notice that with this year? It seems
none really.
No. There's some other bowl games out there where the teams are playing in their backyards.
What, the Florida games?
Well, the Florida games, and I think even the Idaho Potato Bowl or something like that had one.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call the bowls.
Yeah,
it has a big potato, but but you see, and it seems like quite a few of those. And I know there's an interesting article in the Wall Street Journal about that as well. About the bowls, and they're talking about wanting to reduce the number of bowls. There's like 40 bowl games. Do you know that?
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Crazy number of bowls, 40. But the argument being is now the coaches who go 6-6, they're saying, hey guys, let's get there. So again, it's all about the money and the exposure for these teams. So if they start taking away, some people are going to be upset. But they notice the attendance, they're contrasting with the attendance of games is down, and also some viewership too. But though the number of people watching Penn State was rather large, but it was over double a year ago for the Rose Bowl. So they're trying to figure out. This is a business publication. They're looking at numbers. They're looking at trying to figure, okay, business wise, what do you do? Interesting stats when you consider those things. What will be happening with the bowls in the future? Television is great, and I think we all love watching it from the best seat in the house, right?
Of course.
Nothing, nothing like. Hey, tell us about your experience out there at the stadium for the game you went.
Oh man, it was a good time. Obviously I wasn't expecting Ohio State to go out there and put up a 0, put up nothing. But it was a good time. It was it's hard for me to go out there and root for Ohio State, which you guys know. But it was good to be out there supporting Coach Johnson and good seeing Larry Johnson and Tony Johnson and a few other guys. So it was pretty cool, to catch up with them.
How many other guys? How many guys showed up for that game that you recognized on the sidelines?
Man, I want to say probably about 6 guys that I saw that was older guys like Dave Macklin and those guys. But they live out here. A couple of them, a couple of guys that live out here, John Brunson and different guys. So which is cool because they get a chance to still come out, check, support Coach Jay for a little bit, which was terrible given the situation, and then turn around and make that quick drive, quick flight to LA, to see Penn State do their thing. Right.
Well, there's some interesting comments of people out there I noticed online about Coach Johnson and Penn State and whatnot, and my sentiments that I wrote back about were, sadly this man never got a fair shot here at this, and,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, nothing taken. This is not taking away at all anything from Coach Franklin. Great guy,
Yeah.
good coach, all that type of stuff. Same with O'Brien, everybody else. It was disappointing that this administration it was so caught up and wanted to try to purge itself of anything with our coach. That they wouldn't consider a great man like Coach Johnson. He's good enough for the interim. He was the glue that held these guys together through all this, through all of this. And I think it was an insult to him, and a real slap to not bring him in as a head coach because he'd only paid his dues, but he's the man of character that we needed. And it was just I can understand why he left, and God bless him. I think he's a great guy.
Well, he didn't have the option, right? He didn't have the option of paying.
He didn't have the option, and on top of this, and this is from somebody you and I know who was up here and part of the program. Coach Jim Caldwell wanted an interview, and they never granted it.
Yep.
And I was a freshman at Penn State when he was here doing his grad work at Penn State.
Yeah.
A great man of good character, a Super Bowl winner, and Penn State doesn't want to give an interview to the guy.
Yep.
This place, Jimmy, I'm telling you, I want to come unglued sometimes with the silliness I see up here. It's like we. And again, I have to preface this because everybody, takes what you say the wrong way. Again, it's not reflecting upon Coach O'Brien or Coach Franklin. But why does Penn State want to go to scrape the bottom of the barrel to try to be PC on everything? Especially when it comes to athletics. Because listen, this is the bread and butter. Penn State football is what makes Penn State work. All right, it's where the money's at.
Of course.
It's the cash cow. So why not, if you're going to go out and recruit an athletic director, find somebody who has turned a program around, somebody who has made something excellent that was before. All right, why don't we recruit excellence? Why? I don't understand why we don't recruit excellence. Instead, what do? We scrape the bottom. But you know what? The person fits the matrix of the politically correct, whatever agenda you have, orientation, gender, you name it, that they have. That's what we want to have here. We want to make a statement. It's more important about us making a politically correct statement than hiring excellence. So what do we get? We get somebody who came from Cal, who ran it into the ground, and now, hey, everything's going to be good here. Listen, I can speak from my 30-year reunion up here with my buddies. It was hideous, and compared to our other reunions coming up here. And
what's the name? I'm going to jump in on you.
Okay.
For a second, Skip. Here's what the thing is. And it's not. Obviously, I hear what you're saying is going. Here's what the thing is. What happens is, let me use a metaphor here. What happens if you marry? If you go to college, you meet the woman in your dreams. Obviously, I don't want to make this a sexual thing. Let's say you're virgin. Listen, let's say you're a virgin. And you head off to college, and your freshman year, sophomore year, you meet the woman of your dreams. And you marry that woman. And y'all together married for 30, 40 years. And then now she wants to get a divorce.
Oh.
And you get a divorce.
Oh, yeah.
How are you as a dater? Would you be able to go out there and just, jump in the bed with someone else and so on and be... No. I think what's happening in this whole thing, Skip, is you forget that we never had to go out looking for a head coach.
Well, that's right.
It's been years since we've been in that position. So how do we do this? Okay, what? Like that's never even been the situation. It's been years since we had to go look for a whole coaching staff and someone to run our program and so on. So I don't expect us to be good. Now, granted, we could, hindsight 2020, we could sit there and point the finger and say, hey, we didn't do things the right way and everything else and so on. If you refer back to what I just said about, if you're used to being with one woman or whatever, and let's say you found out that hypothetically, you found out that woman was a cheater or whatever the case may be and so on, you want to try to do whatever is possible to get away from that.
Right. And there's two words that fix the problem. Since it's not a marriage, it's not a covenant, all right, nothing binding before God or anything like that. There's two words that fix the problem. You're fired.
Yeah.
That's simple.
And the problem, exactly. And the problem with that is, when Coach Paterno got fired and everything else,
I'm not talking coach. I'm not talking the coaching staff. I'm talking athletic director.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the coaches.
But the problem is
keeping the coaches out of the equation. Okay, for now, I'm just talking athletic director.
No, understand this. What I'm saying is, athletic director or not, no matter how many athletic directors that Penn State had, they never had to worry about the head coach.
That's right.
They never had to do that job. They had to come in. They had to change the basketball coach, women's basketball coach. They had to do this. They had to do that. They never had to worry about the football program. They never had to. It was a hey, you can go in there, you can go there, and no matter what. As an athletic director, you get to say, hey, I was the athletic director of Penn State football and so on. And I had Joe, I had those guys. You get to say you was an athletic director, no matter how many they had, over a legend in his program. You understand?
Right. Oh yeah.
That goes in your resume. Now, what happens when now these guys get fired and so on? Now you have new people in there. Now you have athletic directors who now have to find not only someone to come in and make sure this program is good, but this was the tradition and the stuff that they have to follow. No matter who they put in there, someone would have been pissed. You understand? If Coach Johnson was able to get the job and so on, somebody would have been pissed. Somebody would have said, hey, we did it wrong and so on and whatever, stay away from the program or whatever. How is that? Other schools would have used that against us.
Yeah.
Hey, look. Yeah, look, they still kept a guy who knew it was a cover-up, it was this, it was that. You understand? So it was just, I felt that we needed a clean start. And everything worked out the way, Coach Johnson and a few others landed on their feet. I mean, I know it's some that didn't land on their feet, and,
Sure.
I continue to pray for them. But, it's just, we can't throw stones at people who are trying to do their best. Yeah.
All right, hey Jimmy, I was just getting a quick word with the big dude. He's trying to call in here. We'll be joining us in a second.
Oh, no problem.
So yeah, I'm with you, Jim. I understand to a certain degree, but with all the king's horses and all the men's here, there's a lot of horsepower up here, man. I mean, we got some people who are
I agree, man.
So why recruit?
But here's what the situation is. That statement right there is the reason why Coach Paterno got fired.
Sure.
Because we all believe that, there's a lot of power, it's a lot of this, it's a lot of so on that should have been done, that we should have done, and we should have did, and it's like,
Well, no, I disagree, Jimmy. Here's why. Okay. The trustees are not the brain power here at Penn State. Okay. They're just, these people here are the cronies and nepotism type figures who got appointed because they know somebody or got voted into something because they knew somebody, right? Right. That's not the excellence I'm talking about. I'm talking about academics excellence. Okay. We have a law school. Okay. We have people that teach public relations. Okay. We have all these things. That's what I'm talking about, the horsepower. Okay. They are the brain power. All right. So we can get some people with some intelligence to consult on these things, and we don't. Instead, we turn it over.
Personally, jumping in shit.
Yeah.
Me personally, I love Tim Curley. I thought he was great.
Oh, he's a great guy. Yes, absolutely.
I thought he was great.
Yes, absolutely, and God bless him, man. He's a swell fella. I saw him at Coach's funeral, funeral and stuff, and man, I could tell this stuff was eating him up alive, and it's affecting his health. It's horrible what the man went through.
Yeah.
There's good people. There's some good people. Okay, I'm just talking about when we go out and try to recruit. And Stefan, I'm glad you just jumped on here with us because just dealing with administrative things at school. When it comes to trying to recruit somebody to fill a position, you want to recruit excellence. You don't want to recruit somebody who's already has a track record of being a failure. Correct? Am I right?
Right.
Yep. So I was talking to Jimmy about this. I don't understand why Penn State would go out and recruit failure at the athletic director's position. We have a woman here who came in. Oops, I'm sorry, I said the word woman. Okay, that's why she got hired. Let's face it. All right, because she's a failure at Cal. She ran into the ground. All right, why would we bring somebody like that here to Penn State? Why don't we go out? I don't care if the person is a hermaphrodite. All right, bring them here if they have proven themselves. Let them be excellent at their job. I don't care what gender they are.
Good.
Skip. Let's be cool.
I'm being cool, man. But I'm just saying, the point is, I don't care what that gender stuff is. All right, I want somebody who's excellent at what they do to do the job. I don't want somebody to come here because of their gender, even though they've been a failure at the job.
Well, again, I know everybody. Well, welcome. Welcome. Glad you could join us. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. Now, I mean, here's the thing. Let's make sure we understand. I understand where you're coming from. First of all, the person is like you said, in the position. I don't supervise the individual. I don't know what the day-to-day situation is. And being someone who is a interim AD now, like I said, there's a million stories, Skip, and nobody knows which one is right. I guess right now we have to ask ourselves, what are some of the benchmarks for everybody in any of those positions? And let's also understand that athletic directors at that level are selected by the president. So guess what? I think the thing to remember, Skip, is we also had a president that was run out of the position too.
Yeah.
So those circumstances, and that's why I'm not going to say anything bad, because I don't know the day-to-day situation. I do get upset about things we saw, and we know that happened during the Ohio State weekend. Handled very poorly by that area, but it's hard to tell, Skip. I mean, I think that we have to ask ourselves, because we are Penn State, and I think that, Jimmy, you mentioned it before, and we mentioned last week, we see some things in the Penn State way being established. I think that's what's got to happen also, and hopefully that person's going to jump on that bandwagon and do that and hire the right people. One of the things I do have to give her credit for, though, Skip, Barbara, I have to give her credit for sticking by Coach Franklin when he was 2-2.
Right.
If I don't stick by him with anything else. So that's all that I can say, and I can only hope that, we can move forward and hopefully she can make quality hires, because that's the situation that she's in. It's a difficult situation. I don't know what the whole thing was with this particular conversation, but that's all I can really tell you. And then there are some people, we do want to make sure that there are opportunities for people that are coming in, that are the best people. Years ago, I mean, we can really say that in terms of leadership, women's leadership minorities. And like you said, that is there, but to get the good person, and again, when we go back and ask ourselves, people are saying that, some of the things that happened and some of the things that Tim Curley was involved in wasn't real, so it's tough, so nobody knows, and then no one said that anybody got the opportunity. So my thing is, like you said, I'm with anybody else. Get the right person.
Right.
Somehow we did get the right coach, which is where I'm at, and somehow we did get a person that did stick by the coach. Everything else we do have to work on, and we're not going to get there in one day or even 1 year.
Right.
So what I would like is, hopefully, is that, and now Coach Franklin is the one saying, "Hey, our lettermen are involved." That's kind of what we wanted. We wanted to be not necessarily in the forefront, but a big part of what's going on. And we're going to have to continue to, as a person who works in higher education, you have to re-educate people on who we are. And that's part of what the show's about. Right. And that's part of what Quintus and them are doing. I see him on Nittany Huddle every other minute, and all those other folks, man. Right. He's out there re-educating on what it is the Penn State way is supposed to be. So I think from our perspective, we just have to make sure, we support the program, and understandably so. We don't have a vote in the leadership, and I don't know much about the Board of Trustees. I know Board of Trustees are supposedly appointed positions, and they're supposed to be appointed. And a number of people have a Facebook page that says we intend to vote these people out. So none of that is new. But even the ones before that, people had questions about the fiduciary responsibility of the Board of Trustees. Very important fiduciary responsibility. And, hopefully what we got is some folks that are in that should be in. We were trying to get Rudy Glocker in, who's a letterman, and a number of other folks. I think it's about us putting the pressure on and the right type of things. I mean, I could say, the devil has been this and there's been adversity for that. We can continue to say that, but what are we going to continue to do to be the important stakeholders as lettermen that we have to be? The lettermen are the important stakeholders. We know that. We need to keep re-educating them on that and keep the pressure on. The fact that we've made national TV and Coach Franklin says our lettermen, that's a big step in the right direction.
Right.
And that's not against anybody.
Well said, Stefan. I'm with you all the way. And, like I mentioned to Jimmy, I said there's two words that can easily fix the problem or make it better, and that's you're fired. And
right. Well, yeah.
But when we go out and we want to get an athletic director, let's find somebody who is excellent. And I said somebody, a person. I don't care what they are. The best person, whoever that is, whatever that is. All right, that's what we want. Okay, and you're right. It's somebody who's going to have to understand the history and the tradition here at Penn State. But I don't want somebody who's run something into the ground. All right, I don't want us to try to make a PC statement because we want to show that we're this or that or the next thing. We're more concerned about projecting an image than we are about trying to pursue excellence. Because, in football, it's pursuing excellence. Okay, on the field, off the field, in the classroom. That's what being a Penn State. That's what Penn State's always been about. And they need to show that same in every aspect of the school itself. So, but hey, we really drifted here. We were talking the game here this past weekend, Steph, and what were some?
Yeah, you scared me.
Yeah, well, we got a
good game.
Yeah, no, we covered a good bit of that. But hey, I want to get your thoughts. What were your thoughts of the game, Stephan?
Well, and many of you I'm sure said the same thing. I just definitely want to say what an effort from all the people and players that they played. It was a difficult time. We talked about, hey, you're going to play with pretty much who you have, next man up, and we had next man up, and we had, as usual, a tough first half. But I got to give Coach Franklin credit, man. Boy, does he have some guts, man. He said, we never liked the first half anyway. Man, it was funny. That was funny, man.
That was great. Yes, it was.
That was great. And to see them surge the way they surge and play, and again, playing with what we had and went into the national spotlight, I'd like to say, in all facets, people can say whatever, man, but we gave it a try. We played against an outstanding program.
Yes.
You would think that we could hold on. I mean, to make a long story short, a 14-point lead, and hey, USC's an outstanding team. I mean, and that goes to show you, as far as excellence goes, who's on these committees to pick the people in the playoffs. That's what my focus is at. I mean,
sure.
The show that Ohio State is blown out 31-0.
Right.
We have an excellent game. We give it our all. And to be honest with you, man, we made big plays, and then there were some young people that played, especially when Brandon Bell got hurt. He made that great play. That actually hurt us on defense.
Yeah, I agree with that totally.
Yeah, I hope he's well.
Yeah, that hurt us. And I think if you're looking at a person that's going to the league and had the game, and then, just after we got going and after Ryan got going, and again, we're not talking about anybody admitting all big teams. So I thought in all facets we could have played better. But come on, man, look who we played. Look, this is a type of game it is.
Sure.
And for us to go ahead, come out, take control of it, and try to hold on. And of course, I got a million texts. I'm sure we all said the same thing. Hey, conservative play calling and other things. And listen, nobody knows what could have happened, because if something happens too serious beforehand and we throw an interception and momentum changes, people are going to ask why we didn't work on the clock. And then we do it the other way. We try to be conservative, and we weren't able to do anything. Now, if anything, I bet Tracy's learning, unless he was told, hey, he's got to go ahead on that read option and keep that football for a couple of yards, because they don't see him as a threat. And I think that's the only thing he didn't do as well with that. But let me tell you something. On that last throw, I don't even think he was prompted. He took the chance. Everybody says he shouldn't have made the throw. But you know what? That's what got us there. That's
right. Exactly.
Yep. He gambled. We gambled a lot this year, and a lot of times we cashed in. It's just one of those ones we didn't. And you're right. It was just a fantastic game, though. I was, on the defensive side of the ball. What do you notice on the defense? What do you think? You think we blitzed enough in this game?
Well, I think it was difficult. I would say I'm not so sure that we did. I'm not so sure if we could, because that is one-on-one matchups with those DBs. We saw what was going on. We looked at a foot taller than our guys, and when you're blitzing, you playing man-to-man at sometimes, right, Jimmy? I think I got that right. At least you expected to. And wow, you don't get any help. And let me tell you something. It was difficult, so if you're not blitzing and then you got to play zone and you're going to get any type of help, you can't really blitz, because then you got a problem. So then You have Brandon Bell, who gets hurt, and the kid, Cameron Brown, does the best job he can do, you know. And don't put him in. But I guess my question, Jimmy, is what did I miss? I noticed we didn't put Koa Farmer back in. Koa Farmer started the game, number 7. Now, we never saw him after about 4 series. Now, was he that bad? Or, I mean, seriously, I don't know what happened.
You know, I asked the same question, but, you know, whatever happened, I didn't want to second-guess Coach Franklin because, you know, I think we played well. You know, I think, like I was saying earlier prior to you coming on the show, was what happened was they ended up finding, like, it's like I want to attack the secondary, but, you know, I can't attack the secondary because the D-line didn't get a lot of pressure and so on. Right. We didn't get no sacks. I think we probably had one the whole game. But, you know, from what I hear is, you know, SC, they didn't allow a sack in 8 games or 9 games or something like that. So they was playing well, doing well. Great job of protecting the quarterback. But also, what happened was just like you said, when we lost Brandon Bell, I think that hurt us. But SC exposed us to a point, and they found the sweet spot that was right behind the linebackers and right in front of the safety. You know, so they exposed us there to where they they just kept making plays right there. And like you said, our one-on-one matchups were killing us because of height difference and so on. If we could turn our heads just a little bit faster as those DBs do, we got interceptions instead of PI on knockdown. You know, so you know, we always talk about, you know, Coach Paterno always told us, everyone heard it now, you know, with this game, it's a game of inches. You know, it's just a tenth of a second, you know, the guy's head turned and all of a sudden it's a bad pass. You know, even though it's an incomplete pass and so on, but it's considered face guarding because we didn't look for the ball. You know, so it's just which is weird that when they look for the ball, they lose the receiver.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Right. The guy's going to be 6-7 yards behind them before you know it. So guess what? They learn what it's like. They know that. And you know what? Ohio State didn't have receivers like that. Right. I mean, who else has receivers? I'm not even sure Baylor has receivers like that. My goodness. I mean, they gave it their full effort, like you said. And sometimes, Jimmy, too, it's better to be lucky than good. That one ball that was tipped, that number 9 caught. I mean, there's no way. If we get them off the field on that series, the ball's tipped. It's either intercept. If it's either intercepted or intercept. That was a key play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it play, because that was, 3rd down or 4th down or something? He got the 1st down or something?
Yeah. It was crazy.
I think it was 3rd down, and it tipped up, and he ended up getting the 1st down.
Right.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth,
and we were up by 2 touchdowns then, right? Or 10 points.
We were up by 2 touchdowns, and I think all we need is a field goal, and we're good. You know, that's just what I was thinking. Yep. Let's stop them here. We get a field goal, and we're good. But man, and then even going down the field, I just knew that, like you said, man, we've been doing it all year, and I had my own idea about what call play should have been called. But you know what? Like you said, the last thing in the world I want to do is just, in my mind, the coach of the year, the national coach of the year, even though they didn't get to it in my mind, I'm not going to question a guy like Coach Franklin that just put us in a whole different place than we thought we were going to be last time. We are in a whole different place.
If we don't get that interception and it's an incomplete pass or it's a catch, we're in field goal range. And you know what? Like you said, it's a game of inches. If we make that play right there, we're talking a different story right now.
Sure.
But sometimes you have to understand, and obviously I don't want to make this a religious thing or nothing like that, but, you know, you got to understand God's plan. Maybe we didn't need to have that success right now with such a young team. Because now going into the offseason, now we might think we're better than what we are. You know, going into the offseason right now, we're going in with a loss, and I'm sure they don't like that feeling.
That's right.
I'm with you.
That's right, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy, you know, this is crazy because I think we're all the same way because this is going to be a great recruiting year. This is going to be a great off-season. There's several great things to take from that game, and several, especially the guy that wasn't able to make the play or get those PIs, like you said, they're going to come back and figure out what they got. What do they have to work on? You playing against a receiver 6'4", 6'5". What are you going to do? And you know what? I'd like to see how the rest of the Big Ten saw that game, and I was just so proud of Penn State to be a representative of that game, even without the playoffs. I think we learned, like you said, I think we learned about that game, and I think we learned about not making the playoffs, getting ignored, knowing what it is to get snubbed in front, and figuring out if you really think you're that good, because the media can't tell you you're that good, and neither can a Rose Bowl win. Okay, so you finished fifth or you finished fourth. That's great, but the fact that you've lost, and you lost a well-played football game, and again, across the line, left tackle, Ryan Bates, redshirt freshman, across the line, Stephen Gonzalez is a sophomore. Gaia, who actually played a pretty solid game against him. Who's the kid on USC? Well, he's 25 years old, number 96.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah. I mean, come on, man. Played against Mark, 25 years old. I ain't played against no 25-year-old. I mean, dude was balling.
He was giving him the business, too, for the most part. I mean, it was a good battle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good battle. That's what I'm saying, and I think that he had to give it to him. And there's a guy, again, converted defensive tackle, was a guard last year. Then you got McGovern, who's a freshman at right guard, and then right tackle, Chaz Wright, who's got another year left. And we still got, if he wants to and if his knee's okay, Nelson coming back with some other people. And, of course, Paris Palmer was not able to play, which I was pretty, disappointed that he wasn't able to play. So you got Mahone, I think, back next year if he wants to play. So you have these people, and I think like Coach Franklin said in his press conference before the game, that all the playing that they did this year actually created the depth for next year. Again, 75 freshmen and sophomores, man. That's a beautiful thing.
Right. What a statement's made. What a statement was made this year, Yeah, awesome,
absolutely. And I guess the question I have for Jimmy is, now, Jimmy, what do you think? I mean, because Chris Godwin had the game he had and had the season, do you think it could be a timing situation where Godwin actually considers entering the NFL draft, or are we just way ahead of ourselves?
I'll be shocked if he does. I think the squad is fairly close for the most part, and right. I think that given the opportunity, if I was to have a chance to talk to him, it's like one of those things that's like, we see you now. Now it's one of those things. We see you now. Show that you can be consistent. Because it's a difference between just wanting to take a shot to go to the league. But most of us don't want to go to the league. We just want to be. We want to be a first rounder. We're not just trying to just make
That's
it.
A good point.
And if it's about financial issues or something going on that we don't know about or something like that, then possibly. But overall, if he hears from anyone, because, we get the opportunity to find out what our draft status is and everything else before we make the decision and everything else. But if that's the case, I don't see him being anything, no matter even if he has a fantastic pro day, he'll still be a second rounder.
Right.
A fantastic pro day.
And how accurate is that, though, Jimmy? I wonder about that. When people say you're projected second round, third round, I mean, how close and how accurate is it, do you think? Especially,
I mean, it's not dead on, because it all goes off the needs and stuff from teams and so on like that. What the priority is. If you're in the first round and you get a chance to go, Cleveland or something like that, Cleveland needs way more than a wide receiver.
Right. You're right. Yeah, Cleveland needs. Other than their left tackle is their best player in the whole team, and not that that's bad, but
think about this.
Bad.
Think about this. Second round right now. If you had a Pittsburgh on the clock right now, middle of the second round, and Godwin's there, they already have solid running backs. I mean, they're not going to draft a backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. They might go linebacker or someone like that with Harrison and stuff getting old. But other than that, if they had another receiver to compliment, Bryant, obviously, and I'll say that because the fact is, in his favor, he's used to playing in the cold. He's coming from Penn State. Yeah. So that adds into it. It'd be great to get a Florida guy or something like that, but you don't know how they're going to respond in the cold games.
Right.
Right. Right. And then Pittsburgh doesn't have to break the bank. It's a great, and they may not, and they may get him in the third round. So that's what I always wondered about. And people put the hype up. But again, Skip, like I said, what I want to say is, I guess you have to pray for me on this part. Is just, Kirk Herbstreit and the rest of those guys, man. They just wanted to talk either about the skin. Their whole commentary was very, very biased. I mean, there was no way you can't tell me that it wasn't.
Oh my God! Like, that was the. I was getting so pissed. I was like, listen, you guys are clowning USC as if we was winning by 2 touchdowns, and it was praising this rookie quarterback, or freshman quarterback, and so on. And I was like, what's going on? Oh, look at his poise, look at this. I was like, oh, USC's about to come back. I was just like, just the way they was talking, like, oh my God, like, look at how great he is, look at this amazing thing. And it was like, I think I tweeted, I even texted you guys, and I said, they keep talking about how to stop Penn State, but they never talk about how to stop USC.
Right. And even when we were scoring the explosive points. I mean, like I said, and you guys saw the text that I sent you. That's how crazy I was going, because I didn't get that. I had to do it on my own. I had to get the effect for myself, because I just didn't get it from the commentary. And they continue on with this whole thing about the scandal. They can't.
I'm like, yo, nothing go, man. I know.
I said that too.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
See, when I say I said that, most of the time I'm on Twitter, because everyone's like going crazy on Twitter and talking about it and stuff. And I'm just like, listen, when are we gonna let this Sandusky stuff go?
Yeah.
All right, we paid our dues. So, and I think I said, when the Falcons played, no one protest or talk about dog fighting.
Right.
So how long we got to keep going on? Michael's Vick is no longer there. He's no longer there. He served his he did his time.
Yeah, the
Coach Paterno is no longer here.
Right. The PETA people aren't showing up at the games no more, right?
Yeah, right. Like, and I said that, I'm just like, there's no one on, none of the players know about this guy. No, they never met him. So what's the situation? Why do we keep talking about it?
Right.
When we start talking about position and people in power, like I said back in the day, when
Jimmy?
When Syracuse, yeah, okay.
Hey, just stay right by here for station ID.
6284. News Talk 970 WBLF Bellefonte State College, and all new at 106.3 FM W292EZ Altoona Bellefonte State College, WBLF AM and FM. Depend on it.
All right, folks, you're listening to Lions Live here with Jimmy Kennedy, the Grizz, Big Dude Stephen Davis. My name is Skip Dreibelbis here in State College, Pennsylvania, talking Penn State football here. Just giving some quick commentary here of recap of Penn State football game. And didn't mean to interrupt your thought there, Jimmy. That's one of the legal things we got to get done here. So, but hey, we're all back, and this is great stuff.
What I was about to say, Skip, was when Syracuse and they had the Bernie Fine situation go down, and I mentioned this earlier in the year, Syracuse kept, ESPN and all of them kept saying, Syracuse University and so on. Syracuse is a private organization, a private school and everything else. They ended up sending ESPN a letter that if they continue to post that this is Syracuse and not the actual man, that they was going to sue them.
Wow.
They come after them.
Yeah.
Because it was coming after, and Penn State has yet to do that.
I know.
They have yet to do that, and that's what's bothering me.
Yeah.
Penn State didn't do this.
No kahuna.
Jerry Sandusky did this.
That's right.
But yet we still won't sit over there and give the media some kind of, where our lawyers or something is reaching out to the media saying, listen, we don't need to continue. How long, okay, you know what? It's done and it's over. Next season, if I'm watching Penn State football and I hear anything about Sandusky, it's a problem.
You're right.
It's a problem that needs to be fixed.
Absolutely.
It's a problem. It's like, I not understand that certain things happen. All right, this year it came up, Mike McQuarrie was just awarded X amount of dollars.
Okay, whatever.
So the topic come up again. You understand?
Right.
But I understand that. But going forward, I don't see that why we need to hear anything else about this Sandusky situation. And if we do, Penn State needs to address it.
Yes, absolutely, Jimmy. You're right on. And again, the point being, leadership at a university. When is somebody going to want to stop taking this approach of wanting to take the silliness? I mean, we don't need to take that stuff. Look, it's like you said, we got a law school, man. You think of all the people up here, slander, defamation, enough of this stuff. They could easily send out a nice little letter and say, "We'll whack you,"
Yep.
but and come down hard on them. Maybe they may have to drop the hammer once or twice on somebody. Okay, so be it. That's lesson learned.
Right. And I think the other part of it is, and I'm not telling people what to do. I mean, to be honest with you, I for one, am a person, unless there's something real important on there, and I see those guys on there, certain ones, I don't support the show. I don't support College Game Day. I really don't. Unless if they're going to say something about Penn State, I'll be there. And Gus Johnson said it, but he didn't harp on it. He talked about how far everything came. Okay, and that was it.
Exactly.
And then he went right there. All right, Penn State's got it popping now. Okay.
Yeah.
You're back to business. And there's a part of it is they say it's journalistically it's their job, but then there's another part of it is that you just want to continue to cast shade over the program.
You know what? Let's
Kirk, go ahead.
Let's take it off of that. Let's take it off of Penn State. What about the victims? What about the families?
Exactly.
What about the people that's trying to move on and put it behind them? You understand? What about you understand? Like, I'm not even just trying to talk football.
Let's
let the football go.
Exactly.
We're talking about kids.
Right.
We're talking about innocent kids and so on. They got parents and stuff that their innocence was taken away from their child. And now they got to see it still on the paper, and they got to see certain things that have that constant reminder, that something negative happened and so on. Because Penn State is having success,
right?
Not because they're continuing to do bad or they have enough blemish against the program. They're having a successful season. So let's talk about when they didn't have success. The down years.
Right.
I just don't understand that.
Why would you sensationalize something that is going to make it worse, and then? And it doesn't really help them. I mean, no one is viewing because of that. And regardless, like you said, of how many amens you don't get for Penn State, it's about these people, and it's about them healing. Those particular people healing. I mean, I still remember that pregame prayer. I mean, the brother, he prayed a little too long now. But that pregame prayer, so I've never seen that in my life, to go to the game and the entire stadium being involved with a pregame prayer. And that was
fantastic.
To move on. Yeah, it was, but that's my thing about those other guys, because we could go. I mean, if I wanted to, I could go all the way back to Ohio State and all those scandals they had with gambling, Woody Hayes punching the player, USC. Nothing against them, but Pete Carroll's in the NFL. He's the one that got out of it. Ohio State had this stuff with all those guys.
He ran that chip of ground out there and jumped it before it hit. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I was thinking the same thing when I was listening. I was like, you know what? I'm listening to see when they talk about USC, who's still facing sanctions and still has sanctions against them and so on.
Not
I want to see if they talk about that. Not one time.
Jokers did not say one word. Those jokers didn't say one word about any of that.
Right. I think sometimes that the game day people be in awe of their stars and stuff too. Because, when I was looking, I was watching, he kept talking about, Kajana and everything else and so on. And I'm not knocking him because maybe he was one of the great Penn Staters that was there. But, when they showing Marcus Allen and Lynn Swan and all these other people and so on, maybe those guys, the game day guys, are just trying to, the commentators are like, oh, my God, look at all these legends and look at all these Hall of Famers and stuff. Because I was upset that I didn't go. I was like, oh, my God, I got a Franco Harris jersey. I need to get him signed. I saw Franco. I was like, oh, my God.
Right.
So it's like, but they haven't talked about Franco. They didn't talk about him the way they would talk about Kajana. So I'm like, hold up, Franco Kajana. Like, it's not even close.
Yeah, Franco was there. Franco was there.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah,
so I was getting upset because I'm like, how do you go past Franco and go Kajana?
Well, I'll tell you how I'll answer the question, Jimmy. The way they did it is because he was one of the guys standing up here for what the way things really should have been. And he's one of the ones leading the way, trying to undo the mess up here that these people have been falsely reporting about. So
exactly.
That's why they didn't want to put him on there.
Franco stood by Joe, so they don't like him. Franco was vocal.
That's
Franco got fired from a
Exactly.
very good job. Let me tell you something. At a point in his life, he can't. And he might have saved money, but hey, man, anybody that's near or right around 60 years old, you can't, or whatever, you can't, and a little bit older than that, you can't afford to lose a job. But here's a guy that put his paycheck behind his principles.
That's right.
And that's not sexy to the media. That is not sexy.
No. It doesn't sell well, Stefan. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't get the shock.
Yeah.
You don't get the shock and awe from the listeners. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I'll never forget that. A lady by the name of Thelma Price, who was a big staple in the state college community, African-American woman. You know, there was a whole lot of stuff going on when we went up there. You know, there was apartheid stuff and all those other things that were going on. And, you know, one person said that, how am I supposed to be involved with something and support a cause? And what do I have to do to get a job or to be looked upon favorably? She said, well, kids, you have a very difficult decision to make. She said, if you really want to contribute to life, you want to work well, but there will be a time in your life where you must put your paycheck behind your principles. And I never understood that until years later. And you know what? They could care less for that. They have a different idea. ESPN is going in a direction that I really don't care about. That's right. The thing. I mean,
I don't like Mark.
Well, you know what? You know, sorry about that, Skip. You know, what happens is, in a recent interview, I saw Denzel Washington say that when it comes to reporters, they have an obligation to feel of reporting the truth. And instead of reporting the truth, these guys they just want to be first.
That's right.
So they just want to say, you know, they just want to go out there and say it, whether it's true or not, whether they have the facts or not. They just, it's first, go ahead, we said it first, put it out there.
Right. Shock.
You know, we don't want to do, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, exactly. So, you know, I just think that when it comes to all news, for the most part right now, it's kind of like TMZ, for the most part. It's kind of like TMZ. It's kind of just like hearsay, for the most part, speculating or whatever. It's sometimes hoping that you can fall into some true facts.
Right. Yeah, you need a search. You need a search.
Overall, it's really true.
Yeah,
that's why people get fired. You know, when they don't do it or they don't say it. I mean, just like, and again, and I have to mention it. You know, the firing of the Minnesota coach. You know, that was a rough one too. You know, but again, as you said, Skip, and this is the only reason why I was trying to make sure to give you the X-nay, as Craig Flintstone would say, X-nay, watch out. Is that you know, the coach really got fired for as you said, tweeting, Jimmy. He tweeted out his support for the players. Now, of course, we don't know the whole story because don't forget, it was a situation, there was a Title IX situation, sexual assault, and other things. And the players saying they're going to boycott. You know, the players are crazy kids, and they say, hey, we're not going to play in the bowl game. Of course, they were one of the few Big Ten wins, but they weren't going to play. And the president said, hey, you get back in there and you play or else or whatever. And guess what? Hey, at that point, you know, the coach tweets his support. He's done. That's what's difficult, Skip. If you're saying the politically correct thing, they would have to put athletics almost in a different place. Because athletics reports directly at Division I schools to the president's office, they can fire people for cause. That's why people are politically correct. Cause and nothing else.
Yeah. And you know what? That pendulum's got to swing back the other way someday soon, man.
Well, like I said, and I hope so. And I think this is what happens at ESPN, why some of these people get fired the same way, because sooner or later, that mess that Jimmy was talking about is going to catch up with them. I mean, I don't know who it'll catch up with. And I'm not wishing it on anybody, but you know what? If you don't change your ways, it always gets, as my uncle would say, it always come back to haunt you.
You reap what you sow. Right on, brother.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, man, we covered some great topics here tonight. You know what? We'll have to come back and pick this up again here in a week or two. We got the playoff coming up here. What do you guys think? Who are you picking for this one?
Oh, God. All the way. Well, and I tell you what, I'll pick Alabama too, I suppose, but not so convincingly. Again, more mess, man. You bring back, I mean, come on, Skip, excellence. I mean, and again, Skip, I'm not trying to be funny, man. I mean, listen, you mentioned one thing about gender. I want to be specific and talk about race and ethnicity. How come there wasn't anybody else that had? Why are you bringing back Steve Sarkisian that came from somewhere else, USC, run from that program, from that scandal, from that drinking mess that we don't even know what, and he gets to be offensive coordinator, and they fire their offensive coordinator who already coached a game in playoffs. That's messy.
Yeah, I know. I saw that, man. I saw that, and I was like, wow. You know?
That's mess. So I don't know how he's supposed to run the offense unless he's not going to run it. Alabama should win. I'm not as confident anymore.
Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, I agree, and obviously something more is going on behind the scenes that we don't know about when it came to the Lane Kiffin situation, because they talk about his tardiness and different stuff like that, and so I'm not sure how the bus left him, and it was like a bunch of stuff that's going on. Obviously, you guys know I picked Clemson at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So I feel that if my pick wins, that I should ultimately be the ultimate winner. Given the situation, but
that's fair.
I mean, given the situation, because my pick is out there still playing, but
that's fair. That's fair, man.
My D-line coach from Minnesota is the D-line coach at Alabama. So obviously, this is his first year out there. He's a great coach. Him and Coach Johnson could be like brothers in terms of their coaching style. Like, they're just great men, just, has a bunch of integrity and so on, just stand for something, and they player coaches, and they give you their word, and they want you, they back up everything. So I had success in Minnesota because I felt like I was playing for Coach Johnson again, and I had a guy who was, giving me his word and just putting it all on the line for me. So I want to see him, because he hasn't had a chance to win a Super Bowl or anything like that. I would love to see him at least get a national title. So I'm rooting for Alabama just for those reasons.
That's cool. Hey,
okay. Who you got, Skip?
Well, I picked at the beginning of the year. I said Tide's going to roll, and I'm like, Jimmy, if I get this one, I want to win it all too.
Right. Well, and I should get some bonus points now. Florida State didn't win it, but they sure selected Ohio State.
That was a great game.
I should get some kind of bonus points for that.
Hey, I'll tell you what. If they played that way consistently all year, they'd been playing for it. That's what I can say.
Well, and that's what I thought. I was wrong. And whenever you give up 62 points in a game, they gave up 62 points to Louisville. That was just it.
Yeah. They fell apart there. But I'll tell you, if they could play like they did in that game all year long, they're there. Did you see their defense? It was incredible, that first quarter, man. I was like, wow. I mean, if I was a coach, I'd be like, what do you feed these guys, man? We got to feed them this every game, because this is what you want. They
play good ball.
They play.
Well, anytime you give, Florida State's one of those teams. If you give them a month to prepare, man, they'll be in there somewhere.
You know it.
You know what I mean? You give them a month to prepare.
You know what? We've been running a little late, guys. We got to run and sign off here. But hey, we're going to pick this up again, because we're going to have all this great stuff to keep talking about here. And we would get Yaacov back on here, because he told me he's going to be on, but we got to hear his report, man. He was out there at this game, and we want to hear some of the side stories from him as well. So we'll get him back here next time, folks. So thank you guys so much. Great commentary. It was a lot of fun. So I'm so thankful we could do this. Special thanks to everybody out there who's listening and tuning in. And we'll be back here again next week, folks. And if not for next week, depending upon basketball and wrestling schedules, for sure the next we'll give a wrap up here of the season. So we'll try to get that in an hour. Fast Hour College Football, folks. Lions Live, the Forever Lions Network. You've been listening to the Grizz, Jimmy Kennedy, Big Dude Stephanie Davis. My name is Skip Dreibelbis, and look forward to catching you here again next week at the same back time, same bat channel. Thanks again. Have a great night. Lord bless.
Well, you forgot to say Sunday's the Lord's Day. Go to church.
It is. That's right. And make sure you do that too. Right. Take care now.
All right, brother.
I'll see you.
Y'all be cool. Take care. Y'all be blessed.
With so-called assault weapons.
But you know what? That's a small issue.
But what's the answer?
But that's the issue.
I don't know.
But you run a gun control group. I mean, and you're pushing for right here, semi-automatic, military-style firearms designed for one person to kill people. So we have the city with one of the highest murder rates in the country, and how many were committed with?
It's in our cities, in our schools, in our homes. Prescription opioid misuse and heroin grip our communities. It's truly an epidemic. Overdoses have risen 244% in just 6 years. Addiction knows no race, age, or gender, but Talking about the devastation of prescription opioid misuse and heroin can make a difference. Speak up, look out, and help save our communities. Visit GetSmartAboutDrugs.com for resources to spread awareness and change lives.
We're in the thick of winter right now, and the cold temperatures and lack of sun can